acknowledged the risks. Now, Republicans in the United States Congress are demanding to see visitor logs for President Biden's home because they want to see if they will shed any light on the discovery there of classified documents from his time as vice president. The U.S. Attorney General has appointed a special counsel to investigate whether Joe Biden broke the law. An earlier batch of documents was found at Mr. Biden's former office at a Washington think tank. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Daniel Berman, who's a former Republican Party staffer and strategist. Daniel, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Would it be fair to say that the Republicans see an opportunity to hear? Donald Trump's been under enormous pressure because of the hoard of classified documents found in his Florida home. Is there a sense that this may do similar damage to Joe Biden?
Oh, absolutely, it's an opportunity. But I think there's genuine anger as well of a perceived double standard. And I think there's a couple elements of that. One is obviously the feeling that not just Donald Trump, but a lot of former officials in his administration have been, they feel, unfairly persecuted for fairly typical oversights in what is a very complicated classification process in terms of handling documents, in terms of clearances, that every administration has been guilty of. And they feel that that has been politicized. There's another aspect, too, of it, which is the timing. The initial discovery occurred on November 2nd, which is 6 days before the midterm elections. And there was clearly a decision not to disclose this. Now, this clearly is a political decision, and maybe it is the correct decision to be non-interventionist on this. But it isn't the approach that was being taken. You had the Department of Justice holding briefings about the Mar-a-Lago investigation days after this, before the midterm elections. So perhaps it's the correct thing to do to not be transparent and keep things out of the elections, but then that raises the question of why you weren't applying that standard to Donald Trump.
Right. Well, you've made several points there. Let me back up a little bit and go to this point you made that there is a direct parallel between the two cases, Trump and Biden. Biden's supporters, and indeed the White House, would say absolutely not. This is a very small number of documents that were found relating to his activities as vice president, not to be compared in any way with Donald Trump's hoard of documents, more than 100 classified documents found amongst a whole host of other things in Mar-a-Lago. They also point out that Donald Trump didn't cooperate. It took an FBI raid to actually see these documents handed over, whereas the Biden team, as soon as they discovered that these classified things were in the garage and the other building, they handed them over. No parallel at all.
Well, to quote Arrested Development, it may just be a tiny, small amount of treason then. I don't feel that that's a very effective defense that they're attempting to make here. Also, it brings up the issue that they do claim that they handed them over, but yet they've now discovered another set of documents 2 days ago, which clearly indicates that there's another parallel that either they weren't forthcoming with the FBI about it, or they honestly did not actually know, which again casts doubt on their claims that somehow the fact that Donald Trump's lawyers and other people may have missed a few documents cannot just be an innocent oversight that occurs because there isn't a functional cataloging system of this, but is rather some sort of malicious conspiracy.
No, sorry, Daniel. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I thank you very much. No doubt the special counsels will do their work, and we will be back to this story before too long. But thank you for joining me.